Meanwhile, here in the Golden State, we've got our own set of disasters forming up in Sacramento, and hopefully we've got our man there who's going to keep the disasters in check. Of course, State Senator John Warlock of Orange County, California. He joins us now. Are you trying to contain matters there in Sacramento, Senator Moorlach?
Well, Larry, we've certainly had a couple of big surprises in the first couple of hours of coming back to the Capitol.
Yeah. And not least of which this proposal for a huge new tax on small businesses. Who in their right mind in Sacramento right now thinks that given everything that's going on in this state and with this economy and the burden on businesses, small businesses in particular, that this is the time to tax them?
That's what happens when you're in free fall. You know, you're just grasping for anything. But I'm the vice chair of the Senate Governance and Finance Committee, which is where most of these tax bills will go. And I had a long chat with the chairman, Senator McGuire, out of the Sonoma area, and he assured me there would be no tax bills. That just wasn't going to happen. But on Monday, there was a gut and an amend bill, which now wants to take the highest, actually, personal income tax rate in the country of 13.3% and ratchet it up all the way up to 16.8%, another 3.5%. And what's amazing to me, Larry, is that when you pay state income taxes, it's not deductible on your federal return. So you have a marginal tax rate that is much higher. In fact, I had one wealthy Newport Beach resident come to me and say, look, I'm in a marginal tax rate of 23% here in California. I'm giving you one out of every $4, and I don't like the way this state is being run. And I said, I can't help you. I can't help you, but he says, fine, I just closed escrow on a $10 million mansion in Miami. I'll see you later. You know, and Florida has zero income tax. So he's going to save, even if his taxable income is $1 million a year, he's going to save $130,000 just by moving. So, the Democrats have got to wake up because we've had a pretty steady out-migration, and the wealthy 1% of this state pay 50% of the personal income tax. So, yeah, your question is right on. What are they thinking would be the reaction I'm providing.
Senator Moorlach, I'll tell you what they're thinking, because it works, sadly, oftentimes when it's not rebutted in the media or on the campaign trail, and that's this. Hey, this is a 1% tax on income over $1 million, 3% between $2 and $5 million, and then 3.5% over $5 million. If you're a millionaire, you can afford it. So we'll just tax the rich. They've got the money. That's where they're the ones who should be spending more money if they're living in their mansions in Corona del Mar. So why not? And the mass of people in California say, that's right, tax the hell out of those people.
Well, you just had a sports announcer on before I came on. A lot of highly paid sports personalities have a difficult decision to make when they're recruited by a team in California. They sit there and say, wait, how much do I have to pay in income tax, and what does that do to the net income that I get from my contract? I mean, LeBron James might be the exception, but there have been a lot of professional players that have said, wait a second, I don't know if I want to go to California. And now you can't blame, let's say, the Oakland Raiders for moving to Nevada, which has a zero income tax rate. But we're going to have sports teams that'll be less competitive because a lot of very talented, well-paid professional ball players are not going to come to California.
Oh, I'm shocked Mike Trout didn't go to the Rangers or to the Rays or somewhere where there was zero income tax. Thank God Tennessee doesn't have a Major League Baseball team. We're speaking with Senator John Warlock, but it goes well beyond just keeping those ball players. Because listen, that person who makes $1 million, or actually, let me pause for a moment. Specific to AB 1253, and you've basically just said from the Senate's perspective, this is dead on arrival. But hopefully, I'm guessing you've got the details here from Assemblyman Santiago, who's proposing this, along with a couple of other Assemblymen, Robert Rivas as well, out of Hollister. Is this for personal income of $1 million, or is this for a small business that has made $1 million? Because that's an important distinction.
This is personal income tax.
Right.
So you could be a sole proprietor whose businesses have generated $1 million or more in net income. on a Form Schedule C, or you could be the owner of a successful business that pays you $1 million or more in salary and dividends.
Right, like a law firm or what have you. Right.
Right.
So now this is important because that business that is generating that kind of money for an individual, they rent. They are located near stores. They employ people. Those people who come to work, they park in parking lots. They get gas at gas stations. They buy things at the coffee shop right by the office. You see where I'm going here. This isn't just about that wealthy individual that's a partner in the company that's doing well, because when they leave the state, it's not just one income that's leaving.
That's right. And so now you're allowing someone, like a lot of high-tech owners, business owners have moved from, let's say, the Silicon Valley to Incline Village, which is in Nevada. Well, just saving $130,000 a year, that's probably money they're going to spend, in Carson and Reno, but not in Sacramento or San Francisco. So it's going to have a real ripple effect. The reverberations are rather dramatic. So you're exactly right, Larry.
Yeah. And so let's just get you on the record here. You've already talked to your colleagues across the aisle, and they're not, nearly as radical as the Democrats in the Assembly. This tax increase is not going anywhere in the Senate. Is that what you're saying?
I cannot guarantee you that, because that was the policy as of last week. But as of Monday, all of a sudden this bill shows up as a gut and amend with a lot of co-authors, and it is not on the agenda for this afternoon's Governance and Finance Committee meeting, but we have another meeting on Monday at 9 a.m., and I'm assuming, because I haven't gotten any information yet, and I won't probably till this afternoon, is that this bill may just be on that agenda, and there's going to be some kind of push to figure out how to raise revenues, because this state is in free fall. It's a mess, and it's out of control, and the decisions being made on a daily basis are like surreal. Who comes up with $100 billion, economic stimulus plan based on future tax vouchers being paid now? It's like selling gift certificates, right? I mean, I'm changing the subject on you, but
that's all right.
This is just, maybe creative, but who? It's like I call it the wimpy plan. It's like, I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Well, by the way, if I can just interject, one thing I left out about this tax proposal that I'm reading. This is the opposite of the, I'll pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today, because this is retroactive. So here we are at the end of July. People have been making their income for 7 months based on the current tax structure, and this new tax would be retroactive to January 1st. So whatever planning, whatever savings, whatever you've been doing to mitigate your tax burden now has to be upended if this thing goes through, because it's retroactive.
Yeah, and that can be done in this legislature.
Do they have the 2/3 in the Assembly and in the Senate to be able to get this passed?
I think that in an election year, they are required, regardless of to get a 2/3 vote for a tax increase. This is an election year, so I don't see the leadership getting the votes.
All right,
but you never know. These Democrats, the arm twisting. The promises, the trade-offs, we'll build a train in your district, all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes. It's just hard to project, Larry. This is an amazing place here in downtown Sacramento.
It is. We're speaking with our friend John Warlock, and he is our friend, state senator now. We knew him all the way back when he was the Orange County treasurer, and he's had quite a career since then, and mostly thanks to me. And Senator, there's another insanity that's cut across my desk here, and that is a $600 weekly unemployment benefit that the state of California is looking to do, regardless of what's coming out of Washington, D.C. Where's all this money coming from?
Well, that's what I was referring to earlier, and that is, why don't we ask businesses and all these wealthy people to prepay their tax now? We give them a certificate, and then they apply it to their tax returns in future years. So it's sort of like, why don't you give us your money now? We'll squander it, and we'll just have to figure out how to backfill it in future years. And by the way, that might require more tax increases. And hey, wait, we haven't even fixed the systemic problems in this state. We haven't touched the pension plans, which need to be reformed. We haven't touched retiree medical plans, which need to be majorly reformed. And we can't even seem to figure out how to get software systems to make sure that unemployment insurance benefits get out on time. So this state has got so much to fix, and I just wonder what this dream, this kind of crazy idea, I call it a Ralph Cramden, get rich quick scheme. It's like I'm watching Jackie Gleason all over again with some crazy idea coming in. Let's get this money now, let's spend it, and then let's worry about how to repay it down the road. And then we'll give you this certificate. It's a negotiable instrument. You can sell it, market it, do whatever you want. If you want your cash, sell it to someone else a little cheaper, and off you go. So it's really an amazing scheme, but it is so wrought with financial mismanagement, and it just makes you want to just scream.
Yeah. By the way, for those of you who got lost on the Ralph Cramden, Jackie Gleason reference, what Senator Moorlach means is a Ja Rule Fire Festival kind of scheme. All right, I just wanted to
from those of us that are a little older, it's from the Honeymooners, and there were 39 shows, and they're still probably out there, but for someone to walk in with some harebrained idea, and then but everybody falls for it. It's like, oh, great, these guys are going to help us out. Let's go after the ball players again.
As long as they can rationalize it, as long as they can, explain just to get you to the next election or to the next budget cycle. But, as you've been saying your entire career, the chickens are going to come home to roost here. The financial chickens are coming home to roost, and it's not getting any better. We're looking at a terrible economic situation because while they're doing all of this, Senator Moorlach, nobody seems to be looking at ways that we can get this state back on its feet again and actually get back to business. In fact, quite the opposite.
Exactly. And of all 50 states, California is the only one that has not released its audited financial statements for June 30, 2019. I mean, that's how messed up we are. We can't even get a controller to get an audit done to release a comprehensive annual financial report to see how we're doing compared to other states. And when you get it, you will not be happy because the unrestricted net deficit is well over $200 billion. This place is I just want to scream how mismanaged it is. And we're in this free fall with a budget that's based on a wing and a prayer, hoping that the federal government steps in. But we're depleting our reserves. We're borrowing from our pension plan indirectly. Larry, Sacramento's burning, but these guys are coming up with like everything's great, and we've got some wonderful ideas. And stay calm. Nothing to see here.
One last thing here, Senator Moorlach, and our guest is Senator John Warlock of Orange County, California, talking about the disaster that is the state government in Sacramento. At what point will your body, the state Senate, or maybe across the building there at the state assembly, actually wrestle some level of control and accountability back from the governor's hands during this COVID-19 pandemic? He's now put through another mask order with this Chinese company, BYD, another 420 million masks. He's spending money without any approvals under this health emergency. Well, why couldn't we at least put one provision in there that said if you're going to spend California taxpayer dollars on anything that we need for the pandemic, how about we buy it from a California company, or at the very least an American company?
Well, Larry, let me give you some really bizarre news. We have requested an audit of these transactions. This is done by having the Joint Legislative Audit Committee put it on their agenda, and then the members of that committee have to approve it, and then the state auditor then pursues the audit. Guess what? The Joint Legislative Audit Committee has just canceled its meeting, and we have been told that it cannot meet again between now and August 31st, which means someone somehow cleverly has eliminated the chance of an audit of the governor's transactions and all this stuff that's going on. So the fun and the intrigue here in Sacramento continues.
Yeah, and meanwhile, the governor, last I checked, he sent millions, tens of millions of masks to other states. to help them out. Meanwhile, we've got an influx of hospitalizations in the Central Valley and in Los Angeles County. And so he gives other states masks and then orders more masks from a Chinese company, and he refuses to actually allow an audit to go through. And by the time it does happen, Senator Moorlach, you know what happens. The facts will come out. We'll find out exactly all the boondoggles and all of the mismanagement of funds during the pandemic. But it'll be a year from now, and they'll say, oh, well, that's yesterday's news. That's old news. We'll be better next time.
Jeez. Well, I can't get anything past you, Larry.
Well, I'm just venting at you because I know that you'll hear my vents. Not that there's a lot we Republicans can do other than give John Moorlach a little bit more support and some more company. John Moorlach can't do it alone. So election's coming up. And I want to have you back here. We always talk about what you're trying to get done there, but we need to identify some candidates and identify some races that can be won here in Southern California this November, John Moorlach, and we can focus on those candidates and actually make a difference in Sacramento this time around.
Well, thank you, Larry OConnor. We do need to change the composition. We've got to get closer to a 50-50 split between Republicans and Democrats to at least provide some balance, because right now you can really expect tax bills to keep coming and getting two-thirds votes, and that is extremely discouraging.
John M.W. Moorlach. He's making fun of me because I say his full name during an interview because people tune in and they don't know who you're talking to. But now I will extend it to John M.W. Moorlach, Senator of the great state of California, on behalf of Irvine, Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, and the finest part of the state, because that's where I come from. John Moorlach, good to talk to you. Thanks for keeping the faith up there.
Hey, thanks for the encouragement, Larry. I really appreciate it.
It's the Larry O'Connor Show on AM 790 KABC.